The morning sun spilled through the wide kitchen windows of my daughter Claire's home, casting a warm glow over the breakfast table. I sat there, cradling a steaming mug of coffee, too bitter, brewed strong for her husband's taste. It was supposed to be a quiet morning, a moment of peace. I thought I was safe. Then my grandson, Ethan, broke the silence with a casual tone, as if asking for a slice of toast. "Grandma, can I borrow your credit card? It's just $5,000 for my gaming setup." I didn't hesitate. "No," I said, my voice calm but firm. The air shifted. Claire, who'd been stirring her tea, froze. The silence that followed was heavy, like a storm gathering strength. Then, in a flash, her hand darted out, not to strike, but to tilt my mug. Hot coffee cascaded into my lap, searing through my thin pajamas. I gasped, leaping to my feet, the mug shattering on the tile floor. My thighs burned, but the real sting was the look in Claire's eyes, cold, unyielding. "If you're going to be selfish," she said, arms crossed like a judge delivering a verdict, "maybe it's time you leave. We're not a charity, Mum." That word, charity, cut deeper than the scalding liquid. I stood there, dripping, my dignity unravelling like a frayed thread. Ethan didn't even look up from his phone, still expecting the card. Claire's voice grew sharper. "5,000's nothing. You've got money. You've been hoarding it since Dad died." I swallowed the urge to scream. "I've paid for this house's utilities," I said softly. "I've never asked you to cover my prescriptions." Her eyes rolled dismissive. "You're lucky we let you stay after your surgery. You couldn't even walk without me." That was the moment it hit me. Her care wasn't kindness. It was control. Every tucked-in blanket after my hip replacement, every managed prescription, every "rest, Mom, I'll handle it." It was a rope, tightening until I was bound. I dabbed at my soaked legs with a paper towel, hands trembling, but no one moved to help. Claire's smirk returned. "Hand over the card, or you're out by sunset." I didn't argue. I walked to the sink, rinsed my burned hands under cold water, and turned off the faucet with deliberate calm. "I'll be gone before sunset," I said. Claire blinked, caught off guard, but I was already moving. In the guest room, I pulled my suitcase from the closet, its edges dusty but sturdy. I packed methodically, clothes folded, jewelry tucked away, the pearl ring from my late husband glinting faintly. Beneath the linens, I retrieved an envelope, my birth certificate, insurance cards, bank details. Instinct had told me to hide them months ago. Now I knew why. The house hummed with indifference. Claire's home renovation show blared from the living room. Ethan's headphones sealed him in his digital world. No one knocked. No one cared. I sat on the bed, the same one Claire had tucked me into when I was her mother, not her burden. Now I saw the truth. I wasn't family. I was leverage, discarded when I ceased to serve. My phone glowed as I dialed Martin, my old neighbour, a retired attorney with a kind voice. "Ruth, everything all right?" he asked. "No," I said, steady. "But it will be." I wasn't broken. I was free. The silence after I hung up with Martin was suffocating, a hollow hum that clung to the walls of a house where love had long since faded. I sat on the bed, one hand on my suitcase, the other grazing the nightstand where my reading glasses once rested. I hadn't read in weeks, not since I last felt human here, not inventory. That's when I noticed my purse felt wrong, too light. I unzipped it, heart lurching. No wallet, no bank card, no ID. My fingers shook as I emptied it. Peppermints, tissues, a worn lipstick. Nothing else. I'd used that card yesterday at the pharmacy for my prescription cream. Claire had driven me, insisted on holding my purse while I shuffled slowly. I thought it was kindness. It wasn't. It was theft. Her voice echoed from months ago, smooth and practical. "Let me handle your bills, Mom." One account's easier. You focus on healing. I'd trusted her, handed over passwords, accounts, my independence. Now I couldn't recall the last bank statement I'd seen. She'd gone paperless, for simplicity. The truth hit like a slap. They didn't love me. They loved my money. I opened the dresser drawer and pulled out my notebook, its final page scrawled with account numbers I'd jotted down in a moment of doubt. But the card? Gone. I checked the jewellery box, under the mattress, even my old leather-bound journal. Nothing. Claire hadn't just asked for money. She'd taken it, piece by piece, while I let her care for me. The sting of the spilled coffee was nothing compared to this betrayal. I sank onto the bed, dizzy, a bitter shame burning in my throat. I'd let her become my keeper, convinced myself it was love. But it wasn't. She'd locked doors so softly I hadn't noticed. She'd cancelled my bridge club, screened my phone calls, vetted my online orders like I was a child. I'd survived 30 years as an ER nurse, my husband's death, a shattered hip, but I hadn't survived this. Not yet. Martin's text buzzed. Outside. Ready when you are. I stood, steadier now. As I stepped onto the porch, he was there. Navy jacket, canvas bag, no pity in his eyes. You ready? He asked. I nodded. The house stayed silent. No footsteps, no pleas. Proof they thought I'd crumble. Martin took my suitcase, opened the car door. Everything you still own? He asked gently. I nodded, his care, so simple, so free of strings, nearly breaking me. We drove, the house faded behind me. Martin broke the quiet. Saw you crying last week, on the balcony holding that ceramic bird. I didn't remember. I figured something was wrong when you stopped showing up at the library. I stared. Claire hadn't just taken my money. She'd stolen my routines, my friends, my freedom to sip bad coffee with the choir ladies. You're not the first, Martin said. Managed out of your own life. Happens too often. He handed me a pamphlet for Golden Pines, the retirement community with the koi pond I'd once admired. Claire said it was too expensive, I murmured. Claire also said you needed help buying socks, he replied dryly. We'll file a financial protection order. If your card's gone, we move fast. My chest tightened. Not fear, but clarity. I didn't want this, I whispered. She's my daughter. Martin nodded. Love can wrap poison sometimes. We pulled into Golden Pines, its sign modest, grounds alive with hydrangeas and a shimmering pond. Inside, it smelled of lemon balm and fresh rolls, not despair. Lyra, the receptionist, greeted me warmly. Ruth, welcome. The tour showed a library, a crafts room, seniors laughing over yoga mats. No one hovered. No one needed permission to breathe. At the koi pond, I paused. I used to sit by water to think, I said. You still do, Martin replied. In the tea room, Lyra offered a brochure, a studio with a balcony, month to month. Affordable if I could reclaim my accounts. I don't know if I can do this, I admitted. Martin sipped his tea. Let's find out. File the paperwork first. Protection, not fragility. I nodded. Let's start. 2 days later, at Martin's kitchen table, I spread out my evidence. Insurance cards, old statements, a tear-streaked notepad listing every suspicious charge, Ethan's Netflix, PayPal withdrawals at 3 a.m. It's messy, I said. Martin adjusted his glasses. Truth usually is. He scanned my notes. Recurring charges from stores you don't visit. This is good. I sat taller, focused. Claire hadn't just taken my card. She'd taken control, assuming I'd never fight back. The house, I said. It's in my name. She transferred it before my surgery, said it was for paperwork. Martin's eyes widened. The house she lives in? I nodded. He chuckled softly. That changes everything. He pulled forms from a lockbox. Copy every document, notarize them, list withdrawal dates. I scribbled furiously, memory sharp. Should I call her? I asked. Martin shook his head. Let the paperwork speak. It'll say more than you ever could. That night, I scanned every page, sorted folders until midnight. My back ached, but I didn't stop. I wasn't just surviving, I was building a case. Claire never knew I held the house's title. She thought her grip on me was permanent. When she saw the financial protection officer's car in her driveway days later, clipboard in hand, I imagine her world glitched. But mine? It was just beginning to clear. The illusion of Claire's perfect control was unraveling, cracks spiderwebbing through her carefully built empire. The stranger in her driveway was Carla, a real estate agent Martin had connected me with, professional, discreet, and immune to gossip. I wasn't there to witness Claire's fury. I was 3 towns away, on the shaded balcony of my temporary apartment at Golden Pines, an iced tea in one hand, a property reassessment form in the other. Martin had delivered it that morning. I didn't need to see the storm. I only needed the paperwork to land first. Claire called 4 times, each one straight to voicemail until I answered the 4th. Mom, what the hell? A realtor's doing a walkthrough of my house, your house, whatever, she spat. You ordered this. I paused, deliberate. Correct. Silence, then venom. You're not serious. I'm very serious, I replied, calm. It's my home, Claire. You've been squatting, managing it with money that was never yours. I let you play caretaker. That role's revoked. You can't throw us out, she hissed. I didn't, I said. You told me to leave. The silence that followed was heavy, like snow piling up. She didn't know I'd kept every detail. The deed transferred to my name under the pretense of medical paperwork, the trust I never fully signed over. Legally, morally, the house was mine. Now it was being reassessed, prepped for sale, shielded from her grasp. You're cruel, she finally said, voice low. I didn't argue. Instead, I delivered the line that silenced her. You only miss me now that I said no. I hung up. Carla texted soon after. Evaluation done. Client Claire tried to interfere, but I stayed professional. Strong resale potential. Martin called later. She left me a voicemail full of threats. Let her threaten, I said, unafraid for the first time. I wasn't angry anymore, I was certain. Certain that love without respect is possession. Certain that family built on control is no family. Certain that, even with just this tea and my name on a deed, I was freer than I'd ever been in her house. That night, I locked my door, not out of fear, but to guard the life I was rebuilding. At Golden Pines, the glass doors let you see out, but no one enters uninvited. The next morning, in the community library, I read an article Martin had marked on elder financial abuse, my tea untouched beside me. The front desk buzzed. Claire's here to see you. Should we let her in? No, I said. Tell her I'm watching. From the sunroom's tinted glass, I saw her in the foyer, red blouse, pacing furiously, pointing accusingly. She didn't know I was there, hidden by choice, not fear. She gestured wildly, blaming the air itself, but for once, she was the outsider. Security arrived, calm but firm, and escorted her out. The doors closed like a final sentence. I returned to my tea, cold now, and felt peace, not from winning, but from her footsteps fading without a door left open. 2 days later, Martin arrived with a folder, the house's title deed, my notarized ID, and a trust form to lock Claire out for good. We sat on the sun porch, papers spread between us. She'll lose it, I said, signing carefully. Let her, Martin replied. Unhinged means exposed. The house, Claire's painted walls, her chosen tiles, was never hers. Its bones bore my name. With a financial abuse specialist, I froze my accounts, flagging every suspicious charge. Ethan's gaming subscriptions, late-night PayPal withdrawals. You weren't used, the specialist said, scanning my journal's 12 pages of evidence. You were harvested. I didn't flinch. I knew. Now the law did too. Back at Golden Pines, I found an envelope from Henry, my late husband, unopened since his death. Inside, a note. Ruth, if they make you feel small, don't argue. Leave. Use what's yours. Make sure they can't take it again. With it, a $10,000 check. I laughed, ribs aching. He'd known. I deposited it, not for need, but to claim my place. Claire thought her voice, louder, guilt-laced, would win. But when the trust's legal notice arrived, stark and final, it stripped her access to my accounts, my property, my life. She called 8 times, leaving a voicemail. You're throwing away family. Family isn't immunity. It's a privilege she lost when she poured coffee on me and called it my fault. I forwarded her message to Martin, then mailed her nothing. Silence, chosen, is power. A week later, I sat with Marjorie by the koi pond, our quilt between us, discussing bridge tournaments. Martin joined us, then I saw them, Claire and Ethan, storming up the path. Her stride was furious, his reluctant. I stood, steady. Tell them I'm busy, I said to the staff. They didn't enter. I didn't look back. The pond shimmered, and I breathed, free. Claire and Ethan stormed up the path to Golden Pines, her stride sharp with entitlement, his slouched with the same indifference that twisted my gut long before the $5,000 coffee scalded my lap. They came for a confrontation, but they didn't know I had nothing left to lose. Doris, the security guard with hawk-like eyes, intercepted them before they reached the door. Claire gestured wildly, pointing toward the garden, while Ethan shoved his hands into his hoodie, rolling his eyes. Doris stood unyielding. I stayed seated on the bench, Marjorie's hand in mine, wrapped in the quilt Henry once tucked over me during late-night movie marathons. Marjorie tensed. Should I call Martin? No, I said. Let her see me calm. I wanted Claire to witness peace that didn't beg for her approval. She spotted me through the glass, lunging toward the desk, but Doris blocked her. Claire's voice rose, a familiar mix of rage and desperation, control slipping like sand through her fingers. Ethan's eyes met mine, and I saw panic, not for me, but for the money he could no longer siphon. Doris raised a hand, pointing to the parking lot. Claire's arms flew up. Ethan muttered and turned first. She lingered, face pale, lips trembling as she mouthed, Mom. I didn't move, didn't wave, just held steady. They left, their car's rumble fading like the life I'd once poured into them. Marjorie exhaled. You didn't blink. I already said goodbye, I said. They're just hearing it now. Later, Martin arrived with scones and daisies from his garden. They'll try again, he warned. I know, I replied, but I won't. That night, I wrote in my journal. When they came with fury, I stayed with peace. That's how you know it's over. I framed the page beside my bed, a reminder that their next demand would meet only their own reflection beyond a locked door. 2 days later, an ivory envelope arrived, Claire's cursive, unmistakable, elegant but hollow. Marjorie saw me staring at it in the lobby. From her? I nodded. Want me to open it? No, I said. I don't need to see this lie. Upstairs, at the desk where Henry once wrote his letters, I opened it as sunlight spilled in. It began, Mum, not I'm sorry, as if she still claimed that title. A shaky apology followed. Misunderstanding, things spiraled, she didn't mean to push me out. Then the truth. We're struggling. Bills are piling up. Ethan's car loan fell through. The ask, as always, cloaked in regret. Tucked inside was a check, $3,500, my name printed, memo car repairs. I hadn't written it. Forged or kept, it was bait, not remorse. I folded it until it vanished in my palm, then fed it to the shredder, paper to dust. The envelope stayed on my desk, a husk of her manipulation. Martin saw it later, eyebrow raised. She tried again. Not anymore, I said, handing him the letter's remains. That night, I didn't journal. The truth was already carved in me. I don't care what you meant. What you did was enough. At dawn, Martin called, voice steady. The trust flagged another forged check. Same account, her signature, you didn't write it. I know, I said. She sent one last week. Now the bank knows, he said. Claire had tried dipping into my accounts again, but the trust's locks held firm. Withdrawals, emails from her IP, even a voicemail demanding my balance, proof of her desperation. The financial abuse specialist filed a report with the Elder Protection Unit. By noon, 2 officers visited Golden Pines, courteous, taking my journal's copies, dates, withdrawals, itemized. You're not the first, Mrs. Langley, one said, but you caught it early enough. Not early, I thought, just enough. Confirmation came. Claire and Ethan were under investigation for fraud and forgery. I didn't gloat or grieve. I sat by the koi pond, remembering her sneering, "You're lucky to have me," while reshaping my life to serve her. She saw me as a door she'd already unlocked. She never imagined I'd change the locks. Marjorie brought banana bread and ginger tea that afternoon. Will she be arrested? I don't know, I said. It's not mine to decide. Freedom wasn't revenge. It was distance. Claire lost what she couldn't forge, access to me, my name, my life. She didn't just lose money, she lost her game. That night, Martin and I sat under a starlit sky, wine glasses in hand. She underestimated you, he said. I underestimated myself too, I replied. We toasted to recalculating. I was safe, not just from Claire, but from the need to justify my kindness to those who mistook it for surrender. The breeze carried no warnings, only the soft applause of a life reclaimed. The next morning, I found another letter under my door, Claire's handwriting. I didn't hesitate. Straight to the shredder, unopened. Her words couldn't touch me anymore. Silence chosen was my strength.